8 reasons why chosen ones are the nicest people, but the most dangerous when provoked. Still waters run deep. That old saying holds a powerful truth, especially when it comes to the chosen ones. Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom, where we dive into the depths of spirituality and personal transformation. In today's video, we're uncovering 8 reasons why chosen ones are the kindest souls you'll ever meet, but also the most dangerous when pushed too far. These are not just traits to observe, they're principles to live by. As you watch, ask yourself, do you see these traits in yourself? Have you ever had to protect your peace with power? Leave a comment below and let us know how this resonates with your journey. Don't forget to like and share this video if it speaks to your soul, because true growth begins when wisdom meets action. 1. Healing energy that can burn. Chosen ones radiate a spiritual energy that calms storms in others, yet stirs chaos in those who are hiding behind masks. Their presence feels like a balm to the broken, a safe haven for the weary, but for those living in falsehood or ego, it becomes a mirror that reflects everything they don't want to see. Their peace isn't passive, it's powerful. Their light doesn't only comfort, it exposes. It reveals intentions, unmasks deception, and holds up truth like a torch in the darkness. While they may not speak often, when they do, their words pierce through illusion. And even when they remain silent, their energy speaks with divine clarity. This is the paradox of the chosen one's aura. It heals, but it also burns. Their spiritual frequency is so high, so pure, that anything not in alignment cannot remain hidden. Those operating in manipulation or selfishness may feel disturbed in their presence, not because the chosen one is judgmental, but because truth cannot coexist with illusion. Their light is cleansing, and cleansing is rarely comfortable. Just as fire purifies gold, the vibration of a chosen one strips away the unnecessary, the toxic, the inauthentic. And that burn is not cruelty, it's transformation. They carry a divine assignment to be both refuge and refiner. Their compassion is not naive, nor is their kindness without discernment. They know who they are, and they know what they carry. Their warmth is genuine, but it is guarded by spiritual strength. When they are tested, pushed beyond their spiritual boundaries, what awakens in them is not rage, it is sacred fire. Not the fire that consumes aimlessly, but the fire that corrects, protects, and realigns. It is a divine force that rises to defend their light and maintain their mission. This duality is what makes them both the safest and most dangerous souls to encounter. Safe because their energy is rooted in love, wisdom, and truth. Dangerous because they cannot and will not tolerate spiritual manipulation. Their niceness is not to be confused with weakness. It is restraint. It is the choice to act from love, even when provoked. But if cornered, if betrayed, if spiritually violated, they become vessels of divine justice. They don't need to raise their voice. Their vibration does the work. And in that moment, everything false begins to crumble, not because they wish harm, but because the presence of truth leaves no room for anything else. Their life is a constant balancing act between soothing and shaking, between holding space and setting fire to illusion. That's the sacred burden they carry. They are the healers with swords made of light. And while they walk in peace, they are never unarmed. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever experienced the healing presence of someone whose energy was both comforting and confronting? Share your perspective on the power of divine energy that both soothes and reveals. Let's continue this spiritual conversation in the comments. 2. Patience that has purpose, not limits. Patience, for the chosen ones, is not a passive state, but a spiritual strategy. It is rooted in divine wisdom, not emotional restraint. While others may misinterpret their calm as weakness, the truth is far more powerful. Their stillness is strength under control. Their ability to wait is not because they lack the courage to act, but because they understand the sacred timing of life. Their patience is purposeful. It creates space for alignment, for truth to rise, for others to reveal their true intentions. Every second they remain silent is not wasted. It is a calculated offering to the universe, a chance for others to meet them in truth and integrity. They are not avoiding confrontation. They are simply choosing the higher path for as long as it serves spiritual balance. But that balance has its limits. And when those limits are reached, something ancient and divine stirs within them. Their patience does not expire with noise or chaos. It breaks like thunder in the soul. A calm sea turning into a tidal wave. The energy shifts. The silence turns to movement. The waiting ends, not because they've lost control, but because the moment of divine action has arrived. They do not scream. They do not threaten. They simply become unapologetically aligned with truth, cutting through illusion like a blade of light. This shift is not emotional. It is spiritual. A cosmic boundary is drawn. The chosen one no longer negotiates with disrespect, no longer makes room for deception. They move forward with the full weight of divine permission, guided by an inner force that says, enough. The patience they once offered as grace is now withdrawn as spiritual consequence. And in that withdrawal, others finally feel the depth of what they lost. The safety, the warmth, the presence of someone who waited in love but would not wait in delusion. When a chosen one walks away, it is not out of anger, but out of sacred clarity. Their kindness was never naivety. Their silence was never confusion. It was all part of a divine framework, measured, deliberate, and deeply aware. And when that framework shifts, when the threshold is crossed, the one who once waited becomes the one who walks with power. Their energy changes. Their eyes see through everything. They no longer explain, defend, or beg to be understood. They simply become a mirror reflecting truth, and in that mirror, all falsehood is exposed. What was once soft now becomes solid. What was once tender becomes unshakable. This is the spiritual fire hidden beneath the chosen one's gentleness. It burns away illusion. It ends cycles. It resets atmospheres. And those who misunderstood their patience as permission soon realized they were never dealing with a passive soul. They were standing in the presence of divine restraint. And now that restraint is gone, and what remains is raw truth, sacred power, and a soul fully awakened. If this message speaks to your spirit, comment below. I wait with purpose. Let your words reflect your strength, your strategy, and your divine timing. Your patience is not weakness. It's power under control. 3. When they snap, it's divine judgment. Chosen ones rarely express anger, but when they do, it is not emotional chaos. It is divine precision. Their silence is not weakness. It is a spiritual strategy. Their kindness is not ignorance. It is sacred discipline. They walk in peace because they understand the weight of their energy. But when someone continues to abuse that peace, when lies, betrayal, or injustice reach a spiritual threshold, their reaction becomes something else entirely. It is not rage. It is a revelation. Their words don't lash out. They expose. When a chosen one speaks from the depths of spiritual clarity, illusions fall away. Their voice shakes hidden darkness, not because they are loud, but because they are aligned. What they say in those moments carries the vibration of higher truth. It stirs something ancient in others, something that forces people to look at what they've tried to hide. Their anger does not bruise, it awakens. Their tone is not violent, it's volcanic, measured, sacred, and transformative. There is a spiritual intensity behind their confrontation. It is not to destroy, but to cleanse. Just like lightning strikes not to punish the earth, but to release built-up pressure in the sky, chosen ones snap when energetic tension becomes unbearable. They are protectors of balance. They allow disharmony to continue only for so long before their higher self steps forward not to argue, but to correct. What others interpret as losing it is actually spiritual alignment demanding order. People often misjudge the chosen one's gentleness. They think kindness means soft boundaries. But kindness without discernment is self-betrayal, and chosen ones do not betray themselves. They love fiercely, but they also protect their energy with just as much fire. When provoked repeatedly, their soul responds not in ego, but in sacred defense. The look in their eyes shifts. Their words become sharper, their energy unshakable. That's when you realize you were never dealing with just a kind person. You were dealing with someone deeply spiritual, spiritually armed, and divinely guided. And what they say in that moment will echo. Their words, even if brief, will linger in the minds of those who heard them, not because they were cruel, but because they carried truth. Truth that stripped away comfort. Truth that refused to be ignored. Truth that people may deny in the moment, but will eventually be forced to confront. This is the divine judgment chosen ones carry. Their voice becomes a mirror, and mirrors never lie. The purpose of their snapping is not revenge. It's release, a reset, a divine clearing. Just like a spiritual storm doesn't come to punish, but to restore balance, so does the chosen one's wrath. It is rare, but it is real. It is not frequent, but it is powerful. And once it happens, things never go back to the way they were. That's because their reaction wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. And spiritual fire always leaves transformation in its wake. Don't forget to subscribe for more spiritual wisdom on how divine judgment flows through chosen ones, not in anger, but in truth. Their voice isn't just a reaction, it's a revelation. 4. They protect others and themselves. They are naturally drawn to protect the vulnerable, not for praise or recognition, but because something deep within their spirit responds to injustice. They don't just watch suffering, they feel it. And because of that, they act. Whether it's defending someone who's being disrespected, standing up against manipulation, or simply offering silent support to someone in pain, their presence becomes a spiritual shield. Their kindness is not weakness, it's a sacred strength. As the saying goes, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Chosen ones live this principle in both subtle and powerful ways. But their protection doesn't stop at others. They fiercely protect themselves too. They know that to be a true light in the world, they must guard their own flame. This is where many people misunderstand them. When a chosen one cuts someone off, sets a firm boundary, or disappears from a toxic environment, it's not about revenge. It's spiritual maintenance. They are not being dramatic. They are being discerning. Their energy is sacred, and they refuse to let chaos drink from their well. Just like you wouldn't leave your door open to a storm, they will not leave their soul exposed to draining energies. This fierce self-protection is born from spiritual awareness. They've learned often through pain that not everyone deserves access to them. Some people come only to take, to drain, to disturb the peace. So the chosen one learns to say no. They become comfortable with silence, with solitude, with walking away when peace is threatened. It's not about pride. It's about preservation. And if someone misinterprets that as arrogance, it's only because they've never known the cost of spiritual clarity. Chosen ones understand that protecting their own spirit is a duty, not an option. Every time they walk away from what harms them, they are choosing growth. Every time they let go of someone who no longer respects their energy, they are choosing alignment. Cutting people off isn't cruelty, it's self-respect rooted in spiritual depth. They've realized that not all connections are meant to last forever. Some were simply lessons, mirrors, or temporary teachers. And when that season ends, they move on not with hate, but with healing. Their ability to protect others and themselves makes them spiritually powerful and emotionally resilient. It's what makes them appear so calm on the surface, yet so fierce when crossed. Underneath their gentle demeanor lies a soul that refuses to be trampled. They have cried enough, endured enough, and forgiven enough to know that peace is the highest priority. And that is why, when they finally say, "Enough," it echoes not just as a decision, but as a divine boundary. Comment below, "I protect my peace," if you believe that guarding your energy is a form of spiritual self-love. Let your voice be heard and inspire others to honor their boundaries too. 5. Their rage is quiet but devastating. They don't explode. They don't scream. They simply walk away, and in that quiet departure lies a devastation no storm could match. When chosen ones are hurt or betrayed, they don't retaliate with noise. Instead, they withdraw, with a calm so deep it unsettles the soul. Their silence is not passive, it is precise. It's not weakness, it's a form of spiritual protection. And once they're gone, what remains behind is not just an empty space, it's the collapse of an entire emotional and energetic support system. Their presence was a shield. A chosen one carries an energy that uplifts, stabilizes, and brings peace to those around them. Most people don't even realize how much they depended on that energy until it disappears. Without them, confusion sets in. Relationships start to decay. Environments once filled with calm begin to unravel. The people who once relied on their light begin to stumble in the dark. This is not because the chosen one cursed them, but because they removed the divine grace that covered them. Their love, once taken for granted, becomes a ghost that haunts the atmosphere they left behind. What makes this even more powerful is that chosen ones don't explain themselves. They don't beg to be understood. Their silence is the statement. It speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. When they disappear, it sends a ripple through the spiritual field. Suddenly, truth surfaces. Masks fall. Karma begins to do its work, undisturbed by noise or resistance. The absence of a chosen one becomes a mirror, and those who wrong them are forced to face themselves without the buffer of grace they once enjoyed. This kind of departure isn't impulsive. It's a spiritual strategy. It's the final boundary after too many chances were given. too many red flags ignored. And once they reach that point, their decision is irreversible. They don't return. They don't reopen doors. They understand that protecting their energy is an act of self-respect and divine obedience. Because when a chosen one walks away, they're not abandoning anyone, they're returning to themselves. Their quiet rage is sacred. It is guided by divine timing and higher knowing. It doesn't destroy with fire, it destroys with absence. And that absence creates space for spiritual truth to unfold. While others scream to be heard, the chosen one leaves and lets God do the speaking. That's why their silence burns deeper than any insult, any revenge, any scream. It's not emotional, it's cosmic. There is no power greater than walking away with peace in your soul and your head held high. That is the chosen one's way. Not through war, but through withdrawal. Not to punish, but to preserve. And when they leave, everything they once held together begins to fall apart, not because they cursed it, but because their presence was the blessing all along. Do you feel the power of quiet withdrawal? If so, declare it in the comments. My silence speaks louder than words I am chosen. 6. Their intuition is a spiritual weapon. Chosen ones possess a spiritual intuition so precise it often feels supernatural. This is not mere gut instinct. It's divine perception, rooted in their deep connection with higher realms. They can enter a space and immediately sense what others can't. Emotional shifts, energetic imbalances, and hidden motives. While others rely on logic and surface-level analysis, chosen ones see with the eyes of the spirit. Their ability to read energy is not something learned. It is encoded within them, awakened through spiritual trials and divine assignments. Their spiritual awareness allows them to effortlessly uncover deception. They don't need to confront or accuse. Their energy alone makes liars uncomfortable. When someone with ill intent stands before a chosen one, the truth begins to tremble. Even without saying a word, their presence brings what's hidden to light. This doesn't come from suspicion, but from alignment with truth. The chosen ones carry a frequency that exposes what cannot live in the light. Their intuition doesn't guess, it reveals. And when they do speak, their words land like thunder in silence. Not because they are loud, but because they are true. Their tone is calm, their delivery peaceful, yet their message pierces through illusions and masks. One sentence, one phrase, can unravel years of denial in someone's life. That is the power of spiritually charged truth. It doesn't just inform, it transforms. This is why their silence is often misunderstood. They aren't quiet because they're unsure. They're quiet because they're watching, discerning, and choosing when to speak divine clarity into a situation. What most people miss is that this level of discernment is hard-earned. Chosen ones are often forged through pain, abandonment, betrayal, and spiritual warfare. They've been through seasons where they couldn't trust anyone, so they learned to trust God and themselves. That trust became a spiritual compass, guiding them through every relationship and environment. Their intuition is not paranoid, it's prophetic. It doesn't stem from fear. It's fueled by divine insight. And once that inner voice speaks, they don't second guess it, they move. Their spiritual sensitivity makes them fiercely protective of their peace. They will walk away without explanation, cut ties without noise, and distance themselves without bitterness, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. When their spirit detects misalignment, no excuse or apology can convince them to stay. They don't need evidence when they have revelation. They don't need drama when they have discernment. To some, this may seem cold or confusing, but to the chosen ones, it's survival. It's spiritual obedience. Ultimately, the intuition of a chosen one is not just about sensing others, it's about staying aligned with their divine purpose. They don't chase clarity from the outside world because they carry it within. Their life is not led by chance, but by spiritual instruction. And this makes them some of the most deeply guided, emotionally intelligent, and energetically untouchable people on the planet. If this message resonates with your spirit, leave a comment of faith. I trust my spiritual intuition. It protects, guides, and reveals truth. Let your light shine and inspire others to embrace their divine gift of discernment. 7. Their mercy has a threshold. Forgiveness flows naturally from the heart of a chosen one. Their spirit is grounded in love, their soul shaped by deep spiritual understanding. They see beyond the surface of human flaws, offering compassion where others demand retribution. Again and again, they open their hearts to those who wound them, believing in transformation, hoping their grace will inspire change. But what many fail to understand is that this mercy has a threshold. Their patience is not endless, nor is their forgiveness blind. It is intentional, spiritual, and sacred, but not without boundaries. When you interact with someone chosen by divine purpose, you are entering a space covered by spiritual protection. Their energy doesn't just benefit them, it shields those around them. Their prayers hold weight. Their love radiates healing. Their presence opens doors in the spirit. But when that sacred space is violated repeatedly, something begins to shift. They don't explode. They don't lash out. Instead, they quietly withdraw. The energy that once covered you, uplifted you, and protected you begins to fade. And in its place, divine justice enters the room. Mercy is not weakness. It's divine strength under control. When chosen ones continue to forgive, it's not because they are unaware of the harm done to them. It's because they are giving you time. Time to align. Time to grow. Time to meet them in the realm of honesty and humility. But grace is not a loophole for spiritual abuse. When someone crosses the line too many times, chosen ones understand that stepping away is not punishment. It is obedience to a higher order. There is a spiritual law at work. When a chosen one removes their presence, they also remove the covering of grace that once surrounded those connected to them. This is why the silence of a chosen one can feel heavier than 1,000 words. Their absence speaks loudly to the spirit. Things start to fall apart, not because they wished you harm, but because their divine alignment was holding things together. And when they are gone, that spiritual scaffolding collapses. What remains is the consequence of dishonor. Being around a chosen one is a spiritual gift, and yet many only realize its value after it's gone. Their patience, their love, their mercy, it was never owed. It was a sacred offering, and sacred things are not to be trampled. Just as a lion doesn't roar with every offense, a chosen one doesn't respond to every wound. But when their threshold is crossed, they respond not with vengeance, but with withdrawal, and that is when heaven begins to speak. Spiritual mercy is like a divine river. It flows with power, clarity, and life. But rivers have edges, and when crossed carelessly, they flood and wash away what is unstable. Chosen ones understand this truth. Mercy is meaningful because it has limits. Their silence is not defeat. It is a signal that something higher is now taking over. If this message resonates with your soul, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss powerful spiritual insights. Type in the comments, "I honor mercy, but I respect divine justice," to affirm your awareness and spiritual growth. 8. Their energy changes environments. Chosen ones possess a rare spiritual frequency that transcends personality or charm. They carry an atmosphere. Their energy doesn't just enter a room, it transforms it. You feel them before they speak. Their presence can lift the emotional temperature, dissolve tension, and usher in calm simply by existing. They don't try to impress or dominate. Instead, their vibration naturally aligns with peace, truth, and divine order. People are drawn to them instinctively, sensing a kind of invisible authority, one rooted not in ego, but in spirit. It's not a performance. It's who they are at the core, molded through pain, growth, and a sacred calling. But when their energy is disturbed, everything shifts. They don't need to raise their voice or make a dramatic exit. Just their spiritual withdrawal changes the entire environment. What was once warm now feels cold. The peace they carried is replaced by a heaviness that reveals what was hidden beneath the surface. Their energy is no longer protecting the space, and without it, things start to fall apart. People may not understand what's happening, but they feel it. The emotional safety vanishes. That's the power of a chosen one's spirit. When aligned, they heal. When agitated, they disrupt. And not out of malice, but because their energy can no longer tolerate the lie. Their silence holds spiritual weight. When they go quiet, it's not avoidance, it's discernment. Chosen ones don't waste their words. Their silence is a mirror, forcing others to confront themselves. It's not just the absence of sound, it's the presence of spiritual clarity. The truth starts to echo louder in the silence they leave behind. People start feeling exposed, uncomfortable, convicted, because chosen ones don't need to fight battles the usual way. Their spirit speaks for them. Their energy does the work. As the saying goes, when you walk with integrity, your silence is more powerful than their lies. This is why betrayal or disrespect cuts so deep when aimed at a chosen one. Not because they're fragile, but because they were the very ones holding the spiritual fabric of the relationship or environment together. They were the anchor, the light, the unseen protector. And when they're pushed too far, that light withdraws, not to punish, but to protect its own sacred path. And those left behind are forced to sit in the space that light once filled. That's not vengeance, it's divine order correcting itself. So when a chosen one is quiet, don't be fooled. Still waters run deep, and theirs run through spiritual realms you can't see, but can definitely feel. They don't react, they respond. And their response is always aligned with a higher intelligence. Their silence isn't passive, it's sacred. It's the stillness that comes before transformation. Because even when they walk away, their energy lingers. And whether it heals or haunts depends entirely on how you treated them when they stayed. To honor the power of your presence and the spiritual impact you carry, declare it with intention. Comment below, "I shift energy with purpose," to affirm your divine influence and inspire others to walk in their sacred power. And remember, being kind doesn't mean being weak. The chosen ones carry a deep spiritual strength that should never be underestimated. Their patience is sacred, but when provoked, their energy becomes a force of divine correction. If this message has resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs this wisdom, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another powerful message on your journey of awakening. Stay grounded, stay protected, and stay true to your spiritual path. Chosen one. This is why you can't be around too many people. Spiritual truth you must know. Your vibe attracts your tribe. This timeless saying carries deep spiritual truth, especially for those who are chosen. If you've ever felt drained after being around too many people, or if your energy shifts depending on the room you walk into, this video is for you. On Spiritual Wisdom, we uncover why your soul feels the need to retreat and why protecting your energy isn't isolation, it's elevation. Being chosen means your spirit operates at a higher frequency, and not everyone is meant to be in your space. As you watch, reflect on how these insights apply to your life and ask yourself, who truly deserves access to your energy? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if this resonates with your journey toward personal growth and spiritual happiness. Let's dive in. 1. You are divinely chosen and set apart for a sacred mission. You are not here by accident. You've been divinely chosen and set apart for something far greater than the ordinary. Your soul was not designed to fit into the noise and distractions of this world. From the beginning, there's been something different about you, an unshakable inner knowing that your life carries purpose, that your presence shifts atmospheres, and that your spiritual journey cannot be compared to those around you. You were not made to follow the crowd. You were born to lead others out of it. Your path is not one of comfort. It is one of awakening. This is why you feel so deeply. This is why certain environments overwhelm you, why you've never been able to tolerate meaningless conversations or shallow connections. Your energy is sacred. Your spirit is tuned to a higher frequency. You carry a spiritual assignment to disrupt what keeps people asleep, to guide others toward truth, and to protect the divine light that burns within you. The people around you may never fully understand the weight you carry, but that does not make your mission any less real. You can't be around too many people because your energy absorbs everything. You feel what others suppress. You sense what they ignore. And too much exposure to the wrong energies can leave you feeling drained, anxious, or confused, not because you're weak, but because your spiritual sensitivity is part of your gift. This sensitivity is your compass, guiding you away from what is misaligned and toward what is holy. God has intentionally created this distance to protect your clarity and preserve your power. The crowd clouds your connection to the divine, but solitude sharpens it. Many don't realize that spiritual awakening often begins with separation. In the quiet, God speaks. In isolation, your purpose unfolds. That's why your seasons of being alone are not empty. They are sacred. These are the moments where your gifts are activated, where divine instructions are given, and where your soul remembers its assignment. Even Jesus withdrew to lonely places to pray before stepping into his greatest miracles. Your isolation is not punishment. It is preparation. You've always sensed that you were different, not just in personality, but in essence. You see through things. You feel the truth beneath the surface. You have the ability to detect when someone's spirit is in pain, even when their words pretend otherwise. This is not random. It's not burdensome. It's divine intelligence working through you. You were chosen to be a vessel of light, and the weight of that calling demands a level of protection, discernment, and discipline that others simply may never understand. You're not meant to be available to everyone. You're meant to be aligned with purpose. So if you felt misunderstood, distant, or alone, remember, that's exactly how chosen ones are prepared. You are not losing connections. You are shedding illusions. You are not being forgotten. You are being focused. Your journey is sacred. Your sensitivity is strength. And your separation is the birthplace of your awakening. Comment below. I am chosen for a higher purpose. Let this be your declaration of faith and alignment. Your light is needed now more than ever. 2. Your isolation is divine protection, not punishment. The isolation you feel is not a punishment, it is divine strategy. You have been set apart, not cast aside. The moments of loneliness, the silences that echo louder than any crowd, the distance you feel from others, these are not signs of rejection. They are signs of protection. When God calls someone into something great, He often removes them from the noise of the world so He can speak clearly to their soul. Just like Moses spent years in the wilderness before becoming a leader, just like Elijah withdrew to hear the whisper of God, and just like Jesus fasted alone for 40 days before beginning His ministry, your isolation is not random. It is sacred preparation. You carry a spiritual frequency that is rare. Your energy is not meant to be diluted by everyone's presence. There is something in you that reacts deeply to noise, chaos, and spiritual misalignment. You were never meant to fit in with the crowd. That sense of not belonging was never a flaw. It was a signal, a divine signal that your mission is different. Your calling cannot survive in just any environment. The Most High has placed a boundary around you because your soul is valuable, and not every person is meant to have access to your spirit. Being around too many people can blur your clarity. Their energies, doubts, distractions, and fears can begin to interfere with your spiritual channel. That's why you often feel exhausted after certain interactions. That's why you find peace in solitude and wisdom in stillness. You are not antisocial. You are divinely reserved. In this space of separation, something powerful is happening. Your vision is being sharpened. Your discernment is growing stronger. Your sensitivity is becoming your compass, guiding you through a world that often numbs itself to avoid awakening. This season of silence is where your true identity is being revealed. You are learning not just to hear God, but to trust what you hear. You are learning to walk in faith without needing applause. You are being trained to carry weight in the spiritual realm. Not everyone can handle the fire you're walking through. Not everyone can understand the depth of your inner world. And that's okay. You weren't created for the masses. You were created for divine impact. The Most High hides those He values. He conceals greatness until the right moment. So if you feel hidden, unseen, or misunderstood, know this: you are in God's hands, not forgotten, but protected. He is preserving you for a purpose that will unfold at the appointed time. Let this season stretch you. Let it teach you to hear without noise, to see without distraction, and to lead without needing to be followed. Your spirit is not weak for needing space. It is strong for being tuned into something higher. This is the sacred training ground of the chosen ones. And what is being built in you during this time will sustain you when the spotlight comes. Because when you emerge, You will not need validation. You will walk in spiritual authority, fully aware that your separation was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. Are you starting to see your solitude as sacred? If so, comment below. My isolation is divine protection. To affirm your trust in God's higher plan and your readiness for this season of spiritual refinement. 3. You carry a rare frequency that doesn't align with the masses. Your energy is sacred, finely tuned to a higher spiritual frequency that naturally places you at odds with the collective vibration of the masses. This misalignment isn't a flaw. It's confirmation of your divine design. When you step into a crowded or chaotic environment, your spirit can sense everything. The unspoken emotions, the suppressed pain, the energy that others aren't even aware they carry. You don't just walk into a room. Your presence shifts the atmosphere. And that shift often makes others uncomfortable. Not because you intend to, but because your vibration exposes what's hidden. You carry light, and light always disrupts darkness. This is why your interactions drain you. You might leave gatherings feeling physically tired or emotionally heavy, even if nothing dramatic happened. That's spiritual exhaustion. Your system is absorbing and responding to the frequency mismatch all around you. You're not imagining it. You're not being overly sensitive. You're simply tuned in to a level that others are not, and that makes ordinary social spaces feel spiritually overwhelming. What's happening is this. Your energy field is doing spiritual work in real-time cleansing, sensing, discerning, and that work comes with a cost when you're surrounded by low vibrations. You weren't made to blend in. You were created to awaken. And with that comes a level of spiritual separation that others may never understand. God often isolates those He has chosen not to punish them, but to prepare them. The solitude you experience is sacred space for refinement, for downloading divine wisdom, for building the strength you'll need to carry out your mission. Just as Moses had to go up the mountain alone, just as David was hidden in the fields, just as Jesus withdrew to pray, you too are being set apart. It's spiritual preservation, not rejection. You're not here to connect with everyone. You are here to impact the right ones. That requires discernment. Not every handshake is meant to turn into a bond. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Your presence is a spiritual experience. Treat it with the same reverence God does. And when your soul feels uneasy around certain people, trust that. That's not paranoia. It's divine protection alerting you to misaligned energy. Think of yourself as a sacred frequency. In the wrong environment, your vibration gets distorted. But in the right atmosphere, you can heal, inspire, and lead. That's why your circle must be chosen with precision. Surround yourself with those who honor your peace, not those who provoke your pain. Move with spiritual awareness. Carry your light boldly. And know that just because your path is narrow doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's divinely designed. You are not antisocial. You are not cold. You are spiritually aware in a world that numbs itself to truth. Your boundaries are not walls. They are spiritual filters. You are not meant to resonate with everyone because you were born to raise the vibration of those who are ready. And until that alignment happens, continue walking in sacred separation, knowing that your energy is not only rare, it's anointed. Do you feel the weight of your unique energy? If this message resonates with your soul, affirm it now in the comments. I carry a rare frequency, and I stand in my truth. 4. Your empathic sensitivity is a spiritual superpower. Your empathic sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your divine design. As a chosen one, you are spiritually awakened to perceive beyond the surface, to feel the energies and emotions that others overlook. You don't just hear words, you hear intentions. You don't just see people, you feel their spiritual state. This heightened sensitivity isn't just a trait, it's a calling. You were meant to read atmospheres, discern truth in silence, and bring light into spiritually dark places. But with this calling comes responsibility. You cannot walk through this world without boundaries and expect to thrive. Everywhere you go, energy is exchanged. Most people walk through life unaware of the weight they carry, emotional baggage, spiritual chaos, suppressed pain. But you feel it all. And when you don't protect your space, you begin to absorb it. Their heaviness becomes your fatigue. Their confusion becomes your clouded mind. Their anxiety, your unrest. That's why you often feel emotionally drained after conversations or time spent in crowds. It's not in your head, it's spiritual. Your empathy allows you to pick up what others project, even when they don't mean to. It's a silent transaction, one your soul registers, even when your mind cannot explain it. This is why spiritual boundaries are essential. Without them, your gift becomes a burden. Boundaries are not barriers to love. They are doors of discernment. You're not pushing people away. You're preserving what's sacred. Imagine your energy as a sacred flame. Without protection, that flame flickers in every wind. But when guarded, it becomes a steady fire, warming, guiding, healing. You were never meant to be accessible to everyone. You were meant to be available to the right ones, at the right time, led by divine alignment. You've probably wondered why you crave solitude more than others, why loud rooms exhaust you, why you can feel people's motives before they speak. It's because you are tuned to a higher spiritual frequency. In silence, you recharge. In solitude, your gifts sharpen. When you pull away, it's not isolation, it's restoration. That inner voice prompting you to retreat isn't weakness, it's divine instruction. Your spiritual awakening isn't just about awareness, it's about alignment. You are being aligned with your mission, and part of that mission is protecting your energy so that you can serve from overflow, not depletion. Many chosen ones go years believing they are broken or overly sensitive. But what feels like a flaw is actually a favor. Sensitivity without boundaries leads to burnout. But sensitivity with wisdom leads to spiritual mastery. You are not here to carry everyone's pain. You are here to reflect truth, hold presence, and guide others toward their own awakening. That requires clarity, and clarity requires space. Honor your calling by protecting your light. Guard your peace like the treasure it is. Your spiritual sensitivity is your compass. It tells you who is safe, where peace lives, and when to walk away. Trust it, develop it, respect it. This is not weakness. This is sacred awareness. You are chosen, and your sensitivity is proof. If this message resonates with your soul, affirm your gift by commenting, "My empathic sensitivity is my spiritual superpower. I protect my energy and walk for divine purpose." 5. Solitude is where divine wisdom and clarity are revealed. Solitude is not loneliness. It is spiritual preparation. When you're called away from people, places, and noise, it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because your spirit is being refined in ways the crowd can't understand. Crowded spaces blur your vision, not just physically, but spiritually. The more noise surrounds you, the harder it is to hear divine instruction. That's why those who are chosen are often pulled into isolation, not as punishment, but as a sacred realignment. In silence, your soul remembers what your mind often forgets. That clarity lives in stillness, and direction is born in divine quiet. The presence of too many people can cause spiritual interference. Every person carries an energy field, and when you are sensitive, when you're spiritually awakened, you feel everything. That sensitivity is a gift, not a burden. It's what allows you to detect lies in truth's clothing, to sense danger in comfort, and to feel purpose in moments others dismiss as ordinary. But if you're constantly surrounded by emotional chaos and unaligned frequencies, your spiritual perception dulls. That's why you're being called to step back not forever, but long enough to be sharpened. You can't hear heaven clearly with everyone else's voice in your head. In this sacred retreat, your discernment matures. You begin to recognize the difference between a divine connection and a draining attachment. You notice how certain conversations leave your spirit heavy, and how certain people seem allergic to your growth. You're no longer available for the things that rob you of peace. You start protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Your solitude becomes your sanctuary. Your stillness becomes your power. And your silence becomes the space where God whispers instructions that the world cannot give you. This is not new. Every chosen soul in history has been called into the wilderness. Moses climbed the mountain alone. Jesus withdrew to pray. Elijah hid by the brook. Why? Because divine revelation doesn't come through distraction, it comes through devotion. When you remove yourself from noise, from opinions, from pressure, you open yourself to downloads of divine strategy. You begin to see what others can't. You begin to understand what others doubt. You begin to walk in the truth that sets you apart. The clarity you receive in solitude becomes your spiritual compass in a world ruled by illusions. In a society obsessed with external validation, your separation teaches you to value divine affirmation. When others chase the spotlight, you find strength in the shadows. You learn that spiritual wisdom isn't loud, it's precise. And when it speaks, it cuts through confusion like a sword. That's what makes your path different. That's why you can't be around too many people. Not because you're better, but because you're built for something higher. Leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss content that strengthens your spiritual clarity and purpose. Type in the comments, "I receive divine clarity in solitude," if you're ready to embrace the wisdom that silence reveals. 6. Divine timing governs your life, not the world's schedule. You are not delayed, you are divinely aligned. Every so-called setback in your life, every person who suddenly disappeared, every opportunity that seemed to slip through your fingers was not a mistake. It was spiritual precision. Divine timing is not random, and it's certainly not based on the world's pressure to hurry up or keep up. You are not on the world's schedule. You are on heaven's clock. There's a reason the doors closed. There's a reason that relationship ended. There's a reason things didn't move forward when you wanted them to. Divine timing filters every connection, every step, every transition, so that when you do step into your purpose, you are fully prepared, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. What you may see as rejection is actually protection. What feels like delay is divine development. Heaven doesn't waste time. It uses it to prepare you. The people who walked away weren't meant to stay. The conversations that never happened weren't meant to. The path that fell apart wasn't strong enough to carry your calling. Chosen ones are set apart for a reason. You cannot afford to be entangled with people or plans that are not spiritually aligned with your assignment. That's why disconnections happen, not because you are unworthy, but because the divine is clearing space for something far greater. When the pruning happens, it can feel like isolation. But even Jesus went into the wilderness before stepping into his public mission. The hidden seasons are not punishment, they are preparation. This is when your roots grow deep. This is when your spiritual discernment sharpens. This is when your spirit learns how to move without needing constant validation or companionship. If you feel like you're walking alone right now, understand this. Heaven is building your strength in silence so you don't crumble under the weight of your future blessing. Divine timing is not just about waiting. It's about transformation. While you're waiting, you're also being refined. You're being humbled, taught, strengthened, and aligned. The version of you that prayed for the promise is not always the version that can carry it. That's why the process is necessary. God's not just answering your prayers, He's preparing you to hold them without breaking. It may look like nothing's happening on the surface, but deep down, everything is shifting. Spiritual alignment is taking place in realms you cannot yet see. So if life seems slower than you expected, or more quiet than you hoped, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't chase people who walked away. Don't force open doors that were meant to stay shut. Trust the spiritual flow of divine timing. What's meant for you won't miss you, but only if you're willing to surrender to the timing that heaven has designed. You are not missing your moment. You're being prepared to meet it fully equipped with spiritual strength, clarity, and unwavering faith. If you're still here with us, it means you're aligned with a higher rhythm. Comment below, "I trust divine timing," to affirm your faith in heaven's perfect plan. Your voice matters. It helps us connect and grow this spiritual community together. 7. You are set apart to lead, not to be understood. You are set apart to lead, not to be understood. That's why your journey often feels lonely, and your presence is often misunderstood. You are not here to be part of the noise. You were born to be the silence that speaks volumes. You were designed as a spiritual lighthouse, meant to shine even when no one acknowledges your light. And though others may not see what you carry, heaven does. Your spiritual awakening did not come to make you popular. It came to make you purposeful. You don't walk the narrow path because it's comfortable. You walk it because your soul has been assigned to something sacred. You are not called to be liked. You're called to be aligned with truth, with integrity, with divine wisdom. That's why you feel out of place in certain rooms. That's why conversations that used to interest you now feel shallow. You are growing into your assignment, and growth often looks like separation. The more your spirit matures, the less space there is for what no longer fits. They may call you distant, but you're actually discerning. They may think you're cold, but you're simply protecting your fire. Every chosen one comes to a point where being around too many people doesn't feel right anymore, not because you're better, but because your energy is being refined. Clarity comes in stillness. Revelation comes in solitude. And you cannot afford to lose your connection to God by being too accessible to the crowd. Your presence is powerful, and your aura is sacred. It needs protection, not constant exposure. Leadership is not about commanding a room. It's about commanding your spirit. You are being shaped in the background so you can lead with grace in the spotlight. You are being stripped of distractions so your spirit can grow sharper, more anchored in divine direction. This spiritual awakening you're going through, it's not just a phase, it's a rebirth. Your old self was liked by the world. Your new self is aligned with the divine. This is why the people you once felt close to can no longer reach you. You vibrate on a different frequency now. Your discernment is sharper, your vision clearer. And yes, this transformation comes with loss. But what you're losing in comfort, you're gaining in clarity. What you're releasing in popularity, you're receiving in power. The chosen are not chosen for applause, they are chosen for assignment. Every moment you feel misunderstood is confirmation that you're walking a higher path. Every season of isolation is evidence that heaven is working on you. When others walk away, it's not rejection, it's realignment. You weren't called to fit in. You were called to guide others out. And guiding requires vision. Vision requires silence. Silence requires spiritual maturity. So continue forward, not for validation, but for purpose. Your spiritual awakening has marked you, matured you, and molded you into a vessel for something greater than self. You are not waiting to be seen. You are being prepared to be revealed. To affirm your divine calling and leadership, declare your purpose with boldness. Comment below. I was set apart to lead, to honor your sacred path, and inspire others to rise in their spiritual mission. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a message meant for your journey. Thank you for watching this powerful message on why chosen ones often feel the need to separate themselves from the crowd. Sometimes, your soul knows what your mind can't explain, and that inner nudge to pull away is part of your divine protection and purpose. Remember, solitude isn't loneliness, it's preparation. You're not being isolated, you're being aligned. If this message spoke to your spirit, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of truth, insight, and spiritual awakening. Your journey is sacred. Walk it with wisdom.